One of the skills that autonomous learners need is autonomous reading. Now, how can we read autonomously? Before you start studying the material, you need to ask yourself a couple of questions, like, what does my teacher want me to learn? What am I going to benefit from this topic? Is it related to what I have already studied? Is it related to other courses in the curriculum? What do I know about this topic? What are the major points? Before you read, you ask, okay, what is it talking about? What are the main things in this topic? Which parts are difficult for me? Now, when we read, we do not read once. We don't read everything in the same way. We read in cycles. We read for different purposes. While reading, we need to be active readers. We should always read with a pencil in hand, not pen, a pencil, so that if you make mistakes, you erase and you change your mind. Even if you read a newspaper, get into the habit of reading with a pencil in hand. The first time we read, we need to skim to get a general idea about the topic. So when we skim, what do we look at? We look at the headings, the subheadings, the first line. We read the first line of each paragraph. We read the captions under the pictures or graphs in the text. We read the introduction, the conclusion, or the summary. Then we read again. You know, each chapter has sections. Now, the sections do not have the same importance. Some are very important, others are unimportant. They have varying degrees of importance. So, if a section is very important, we read it slowly and we read it word by word. If it's not important, we skip it. We don't need to read it. If it's of average importance, then we can only read the first line and look here and there. When we look at the headings and subheadings, it's good to convert each heading into a question. For example, if the chapter is about theories of learning, then you convert it into a question. What are theories of learning? What are the theories of learning? And what is a theory of learning? The definition first and then the types. And then for each type, for each theory, you ask, what is the Gestalt theory? What is the constructivist theory or behavioral theory or trial and error theory? Then you start reading, and in each paragraph, you underline the main idea. And then you summarize each main idea because the topic of the paragraph is usually expressed in the main idea. The main idea may be, in some paragraphs, it's at the beginning. In others, it's in the middle or even at the end. So we summarize each main idea or the topic of the paragraph, and we write it in the margin. We summarize it in 2-3 words only, in the form of a title. Then, if the paragraph is, for example, talking about the Gestalt theory, then we number the details. We number the characteristics. This is 1, this is 2. We write 1 with a pencil and then a circle around it. Now, for sure, we come across difficult terms. So what we do, we put each term in a box. We put a box around it, and then we underline the definition. When we read, we come across words like because, as a result of, finally, first, second, third, for example, So and so is divided into, however, but, similarly, likewise, ago, while, when, during. These words, they signal the organizational structure of paragraphs and the whole text. So what we do, we put two little double lines under each word. When we read, it's better to time ourselves, to use a timer. Why? Because when we know that we have limited time to read and finish this material, we will be more active, we will concentrate better and focus better. While reading, try to visualize and form a mental picture of what you are reading. If you're reading about theories of learning, about foreign language teaching methodology or second language acquisition, try to visualize students learning in the classroom, how they are learning. Visualize teachers, visualize books and resources. Another thing that's important, you have to rearrange the information and find relationships with among ideas. It's good to compare ideas. Put ideas that are the same together, the ones that are different together. Classify ideas. For example, theories of learning can be classified into 1, 2, 3, 4. Foreign language teaching methodologies can be classified into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whole part. The whole is the learning theories, and the parts are the types. The same thing for foreign language teaching methodologies. This is the whole, and the part are the different teaching methods. We need to connect also the rule with examples and arrange the theories or the methodologies in order of importance. Now, which one is more important than the other? For example, the communicative approach or grammar translation. For sure, the communicative approach. Okay, when we finish reading, we need to take a quick look at only certain parts. The notes in the margin, the lines that the ideas, the main ideas that we have underlined, the terms that we put in boxes, the things we've circled, so that we put the pieces together. Then you need to close the book or the handout and rehearse. Talk about the important parts in the material that you have read, and you can ask yourself questions. Now, when we read, when we learn autonomously, we also learn new vocabulary, new technical terms on our own. When we learn vocabulary or technical terms, it's not enough to know the meaning. We need to learn other things, like pronunciation, especially because English is not phonetic. We spell the words in a different way, not like the way we pronounce them. We spell them one way, we pronounce them another way. For example, the words opportunity, negotiate, mutual, insurance, and continuum. The T, for example, in some words it's pronounced ta, in other words sha, in other words cha. Similarly, sa. In some words it's pronounced sha, insurance, in other words measure, ja. We also have to look at the words and see whether they have prefixes, suffixes, roots, and then divide them into their component parts. As in words like multinational, monopoly, bureaucracy, democracy, autocracy. So what we do, we put a slash line between the syllables, like before crassy, before poly, before the AL, and after multi. We also need to know the singular and the plural form of the noun, especially because English has many Latin plurals, as in the words data, media, quota, appendix. Also, we need to know the partial speech of a word, whether it's a noun, it's a verb, it's an adjective, even nouns. We have different types of nouns, which words are derived from which bases. For example, monopoly is a noun, monopolize a verb, monopolistic is a noun, monopolist is a noun, monopolistic is an adjective. But monopolist, it's a noun, but it refers to the person. Monopoly, it does not refer to the person. It's a noun, but it's another type of noun. Compete, competitor, competitive, competition, same thing. Verb and then competitor, noun that refers to the person. Competitive, it's an adjective. Competition, it is a noun, but it's an action noun. Some words are antonyms, like supply and demand, implicit and explicit, import, export. Some are near synonyms. They are not exact synonyms, but they are close, like managing director, executive director, general manager. So we should know the meaning of those. Some English is full of words borrowed from other languages. So we need to know the meaning of some foreign terms like per capita, entrepreneur. Also, when we read, we come across abbreviations and acronyms. Acronyms are a combination of letters, and the combination consists of letters taken from the first letter of each word in the name of an organization or a university or a company. There are also symbols. We need to know what they mean, such as the dollar symbol or TM for trademark. We also come across compounds. Compounds are two words used together as one unit. Some compounds, in some compounds, the two words are spelled together, as in withdraw and undertake. They are not spelled separately because they don't have the same meaning when they are spelled separately. Or they can be spelled separately, as in high school, or they can be hyphenated. We also need to pay attention to words with multiple meanings, such as the word statement. For example, in grammar, what it means. If I say the president gave a statement or bank statement, same thing, balance, when we're talking about banking. In physics, when you have scales, balance sheet. In business, base also has several meanings. In architecture, in mathematics, in chemistry, system has a lot of meanings. It's used in too many contexts. Another thing is that every time we come across a difficult word, we do not need to find or look up the meaning of the word in the dictionary. The text usually explains itself. How? By examining the words, the part of the text before the difficult word and the part of the text after the difficult word. So we can understand and infer the meaning of the difficult words from context, from the definitions and the context, the examples, punctuation, if there are synonyms, antonyms, figures of speech, analogies, and also from your own experience. When we study vocabulary, in order to remember, we need to put similar words that share something, either structurally or in terms of meaning, together. For example, names of ministries or names of colleges. We can put them together. And words that share certain suffixes or prefixes or roots, like democracy, autocracy, bureaucracy, and so on. We can use a tree diagram, we can use circles, we can use a table, graphic organizers to put the words that belong together. Now, while reading, it's important to pay attention to the grammatical structures in the text. The first one, the head noun and the verb. Now, what is a head noun? A head noun is the subject in a sentence, and only it's one word. If I say, the tall, fat, lazy boy has been riding his bicycle for 3 hours. So where is the head noun? The head noun is boy. And we ignore the adjectives. Because if there is no boy in the sentence, the adjectives are useless. And then the verb is the main verb, which is riding. Especially in sentences that are very long, it's very important to circle the head noun because the whole sentence will be talking about it. And the verb. Sometimes there are several verbs. The verbs are more important than prepositional phrases, than adverbs, than other or even pronouns. Also, we need to pay attention to sentence types. Is this sentence a statement? Is it a question, imperative, exclamatory? Is it a compound, a complex, a passive sentence? Also, we should pay attention to words with ing. Sometimes the word is a verb or a gerund, a noun, and sometimes it's an adjective. So we should know. Also, pay attention to tenses. Is the present tense is being used here because the text is a scientific text. It's talking about facts. Is the text using past tense? And also the words that signal tenses: long ago, while, during, always, often. Prepositions are important because in English there are phrasal verbs that contain prepositions. There are idioms that contain prepositions. And there are prepositions. So we need to know when a preposition is used separately, independently, and when it's part of an idiom. So it changes the meaning. And we should also understand passive structures and divide or break long and complex sentences into phrases using slash lines. An autonomous learner should always practice writing. How can you practice writing? By keeping a diary or a journal. So you write about the things that happen to you, things you've seen, you've heard, your impressions, your comments about an event. It doesn't have to be long. So you just write. Don't be worried about making mistakes. If you watch a movie, you watch a video, a lecture, you read something, you can rewrite it, summarize it in your own words, and or make an outline of the main points and the important details. You can fill out forms online, let's say online, and you can sign up for a blog where you can keep your diary or journal. You can sign up for a blog on WordPress, blogger.com or blog.com. You can create your own blog on your mobile. You can also sign up and participate in an online discussion forum and make comments, post comments on certain posts. You can create your own Facebook page, Twitter page, and post pictures, post anything every day. Finally, of course, I haven't covered everything in the lecture. I tried to make it brief because I have a limited time. But it's always important to learn on our own because we are autonomous learners. So we can always read self-help articles. There are lots of websites that provide you with positive, for example, like positive articles. And here, the positive articles are about lots of topics. You don't need to read them all, to read all the articles in each category. You pick the category that is of interest to you, and you read just a couple of articles. So the articles here are about attitude, empowerment, leadership, motivation, self-esteem, stress, time management, speed reading, meditation, and so on. Another website is selfgrowth.com, and they have success articles like assessment tools, attitudes, imagery and visualization, inspiration, inspirational quotes, integrity, persuasion, prosperity, public speaking, and so on. With this, I come to the end of my lecture. Thank you very much for attending and listening. And if you have questions, you can post them under the video on my YouTube channel. Now, this lecture I will upload to my YouTube channel, and this is the address of my YouTube channel. You don't need to memorize the address, it's impossible, but you can enter my first name and last name on YouTube, and then you will be able to access my channel, and you will find the video. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in another lecture